Beyond all the indignation and the posturing, indignation at the big money corporate barons here and the posturing about trying to make themselves seem more folksy, there are the workers here, about 250,000 of them, whose fate hangs in the balance in this debate. And I think their position, the position of labor in this debate, is best summed up actually in a 3-act play posted by a commenter on the blog Balloon Juice. I read these things deeply. I will read you the third and final act. You ready? All right, here we go. United Auto Workers Union. That's one of the characters. I have fulfilled my end of the deal by building the automobiles that you have asked me to build. Big Three says, oh no, I am undone. My automobiles are no longer competitive due to my years of poor planning and poor judgment. And then the third player, Mitt Romney, says, obviously this is all UAW's fault. So the problem is this. A key piece of our economy is about to be flushable, and whether or not the government even attempts to rescue it could depend on just how hateable its CEOs are. That does not seem to be fair or wise. I need to be talked down here. Joining me now is Leo Gerard, who is president of the United Steelworkers Union. Mr. Gerard, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight.
Thanks, Rachel. I'm glad to be on. Hope I can talk you down.
Nobody ever has before, so it'd be great if you did. Is the auto industry getting tougher treatment from Congress than the financial industry did when it was their turn for a bailout? And if so, why?
Absolutely. I think it's the culture that we've had for a long time out of Washington. And in fact, we haven't bailed out Washington or Wall Street with $700 billion. We've bailed them out with trillions. We've had a bailout and we've had collapses. We've had Ponzi schemes. Let's go back to the Capital Fund that was bailed out by Greenspan. We've had the corruption of Tyco, WorldCom, Enron. We had the tech bubble, now the housing bubble and the bailout. We're talking about trillions of dollars. Nobody complained that these guys made not billions, but really hundreds of billions that they've paid themselves over the years as they've taken the whole economy down the tank. The reality is that there's more than 250,000 people in the auto industry that make their living from auto. We have steel workers that work at U.S. Steel. We have tire makers that work at Goodyear who are reliant on the auto industry. When Wall Street collapsed, their pension funds went with them at places like U.S. Steel and Goodyear and GM, because as the market tanked because of Wall Street, we added liability and workers lost pensions, not just their jobs already. And let's remember one other thing. One of the problems that we have with the big three automakers is that they're providing health care to almost 1 million lives. They're providing health care in a society where we're competing with all the other companies that make cars in other countries who health care is provided as a matter of right of citizenship. So we shouldn't punish the auto industry for producing pretty damn good cars. In fact, let me tell you one other thing before I leave this to you. The North American auto industry, promoted by the big three, make more fuel-efficient cars than all of the imports, all of the transplants. They have amongst the highest fuel efficiency ratings. Sure, they made some SUVs and trucks, but if you go out on the road, what you see is SUVs and trucks. People were buying them, and they were selling those cars and trucks. So in my view, yeah, we've treated the people who take a shower after work much different than we've treated the people who shower before they go to work.
I spoke with the president of the Auto Workers Union recently on this show about the difference in response to those other industries that have been getting assistance or asking for assistance from the federal government and the way that the auto industry has been treated. And it seems to me that there is a real political inflection to the resistance to helping out the auto industry. And that political inflection you can hear when people start complaining, critics start complaining about auto workers being overpaid, and they start complaining about unions. Unions are being set up as if they are the reason that America can't be competitive and that businesses fail. Do you feel that as a political attack on unions as a union leader right now?
I think it's a lot of Republican hypocrisy, Wall Street hypocrisy. It's the hypocrisy of the already rich and powerful that have kept silent, like the governors that you had on earlier, kept silent about bailouts when it was going to their friends on Wall Street. Look at the economic deregulation we've seen in this country over the last 20 years. We deregulated the financial sector. We deregulated industries like the aerospace industry, like the trucking industry, like the energy. We deregulated employment levels so that now, for the first time in the last 50 years, this generation might pass on a lower standard of living to the next generation. And we deregulated global trade. Tell me which one of those has been good for working families? Which one of those has increased America's standing in the world? Of course, it's a phony attack. An auto worker that makes $57,000 a year, working some overtime, who produces a good car, who has a half-decent pension, who's now had their pension equity whacked by more corruption and calamity on Wall Street, who has some decent health care after working 30 or 40 years in a workplace, an employer that's trying to provide that health care because it's the only country on earth where society doesn't get its health care provided through a universal system, and all of a sudden we're going to blame the workers? It's not the workers' fault. It's in fact this calamity, if as your report said today, people aren't buying cars. I was in a car lot on Saturday with my wife. I went to buy my daughter a coat, stopped at a car lot just to see what was going on. There was nobody in the car lot buying any cars. You know why? Because they can't access credit. That's not the auto workers' fault. That's Wall Street's fault. That's those who deregulated the financial sector. You know, I have this little saying, I'll get a chance, I'll tell it to you. When we deregulated the financial sector, that was the economic equivalent of leaving 3-year-olds alone in a candy store. You know what they're going to do? They're going to gorge themselves, and when you go get them, they're going to throw up on your shoes. I'm just tired of having my shoes thrown up on by Wall Street.
Leo Gerard, president of the United Steelworkers. You and I think in a lot of the same metaphors. Thank you for joining us tonight. Good luck to you,
Hope
sir.
I talked you down. Hope I talked you down.
I think I'm with you on the ledge together. That's half the battle there. Thank you, Mr. Gerard.